Good morning from the Isle of Skye. Today is the day I leave Skye and start making my way up the west coast of Scotland on my trusty rental Royal Enfield Himalayan. This, of course, means riding on part of the North Coast 500 route, because it is pretty much the only route. There are very, very few roads in the north of Scotland. The NC500 was launched by the Tourism Board as a way to bring more people to the Northern Highlands, and it follows the coast where it can, starting and ending in Inverness. Today, I'll be riding up just past Ullapool and then inland a bit to find a log cabin I booked online. This is certainly the least exciting way to leave the Isle of Skye, but it does offer a pretty view of sunbeams streaking through the clouds. This bridge was finished in 1995 and replaced the ferry here to cope with the ever-increasing summer tourist traffic. It was initially opened as a private toll bridge, but after 9 years of protests and hundreds of arrests for refusing to pay toll, the bridge was bought by the Scottish government and is now free to cross. I wasn't paying enough attention when building this route, so I completely missed the little coastal road that was off to the left somewhere here, and I ended up on the much less interesting A980, bypassing some interesting little villages. But it wasn't too long before it became the coastal road. Like I said earlier, the north of Scotland doesn't have a whole lot of roads, so the ones that are there are the only way to get around. So you're gonna see trucks, tour buses, and so many camper vans, not to mention a few motorbikes. This avalanche tunnel seems a bit out of place here, but rockfall from the cliffs above has been a constant concern for keeping this road open. Welcome to the NC500. I just turned onto the route proper and was immediately strafed by a BMW. I clearly should have been checking my mirrors more, instead of looking at the scenery. After passing through the village of Loch Carron, it was back into the mountains. Perfect. So, this is the famous Applecross Pass, or Bealach na Ba, which means Pass of the Cattle. It is the path that was used to drive the Highland coos over the mountain from Applecross. I've seen some things claiming the path has been used for thousands of years, but it was turned into a road between 1818 and 1822, and later paved in the 1950s. The signs at both ends of the pass are very clear to let you know that this is a serious road, and it should not be attempted by new drivers or larger vehicles or those pulling a caravan. I did see a tour bus the last time I was here in 2015, so be wary. The road starts at the sea and carves its way up the side of a massive gully to the top of the pass at 626 meters, and has really spectacular views if it is clear. It was a bit cloudier today, but still impressive. It isn't the steepest or highest road in the UK, but it does have the highest elevation gain. In any case, it is a must-ride road if you are anywhere close by. And don't be bothered by all those most dangerous road claims. Apart from summer traffic on the single lane parts or snow in the winter, it's not especially challenging. While it was a reasonable 13 degrees at the bottom, it was a very windy 9 degrees at the top. I did not stick around long. The other side of the pass isn't quite as spectacular, but still has plenty of blind, narrow corners to keep your attention. The pass ends back at the sea in the little village of Applecross. Across the sound is the Isle of Rassay, which is a lovely, quiet place that certainly warrants another visit. It has a completely different feel to Skye and is only a short ferry ride away. These big, barren landscapes are quite something. I love cresting a hill and being able to see for miles. I spotted a little rock outcropping, and being the child that I am, had to park on top of it. There did happen to be a nice view up there. This road that circles the Applecross Peninsula is really great. When it isn't hugging the coast, it passes by beautiful freshwater lochs, and it wasn't terribly busy for me. You do still need to be vigilant around all the blind corners. Behind those old Citroëns is Loch Shieldig and the mountain of Liahach. Since so many places are based on their Gaelic name, I had a hell of a time translating what I heard into something I could navigate to. I almost always had to resort to taking out the map. I was told that the town of Shieldig was particularly nice, and it is. There's a beautiful forested island in the bay, but it was before noon on a Monday and no one was serving food yet, so I kept my visit short. My belly was rumbling, it was well past time for coffee, and these camper vans had very little sense of expediency. I got my first raindrops of the day, and I saw my first Highland coup of the trip. I didn't stop because I figured they would be plentiful as I traveled north. It turns out that I wouldn't see another one until the last few days of the trip on the Ardnamurchan Peninsula. The road between Torridon and Kinlochew travels through one of those iconic Scottish glen landscapes. I am happy there wasn't rain in the center of the lens for the entire journey. I found coffee and a bacon roll at a service station in Kinlochew just up the road. Shortly after, I somehow managed to trade the rain clouds for beautiful blue skies for the rest of the day. These cars were dawdling a little bit more than I would have preferred, so instead of fuming in my helmet, I stopped for a look at this lovely loch. This part of the world is really quite special on a sunny day. The lochs and sea are these incredible shades of blue, and the mountains provide a stunning backdrop. Loch U to the left here was used as a harbor in World War II by the Arctic convoys that would deliver supplies between North America, the UK, and Russia. And this brick water tower is a remnant of that time. The local inn became the headquarters, and anti-submarine nets were stretched across the opening of the loch. It's strange to imagine this sleepy seaside community as a bustling military port. Just up the road is a wonderful view of Gruinard Bay, where the water almost looks tropical, so long as you don't dip your toe in it. What a beautiful old farm. The road skirts Little Loch Broom before cutting across the Fane Moor on Destitution Road, which was built to create work during the potato famine of 1849. This inn opened once the road was complete. On the other side of the moor is Loch Broom proper, which leads to Ullapool, where I consumed more fish and chips and picked up a few snacks for my night in a log cabin. With 1,500 residents, Ullapool is the largest town on the west coast section of the NC500 and is a jumping-off point to get to the Outer Hebrides. This gives you some idea of how sparsely populated the entire north of Scotland is. I continued riding north of Ullapool, past Ardmere, where the road once again leaves the coast to wind through vast, barren valleys. I've already seen more motorbikes today than I have on the whole trip. It's like this NC500 thing is a popular motorbike route or something. Last time I was here, I only had 4 days with the bike, so I ended up riding around 300 miles a day and not getting the chance to explore as much. Today's mileage was around 200, but I still feel like I didn't have the time to wander down all of the wonderful little dead-end roads that stretch out to the tiny villages along the peninsulas. So my advice to anyone planning to ride the NC500 is to venture off of the main route as much as you can. There aren't nearly as many caravans out there, and they all tend to be narrow, windy, single-lane roads, for which I have a particular fondness. I made it to my cabin in the middle of nowhere and got to ride the only gravel road on the trip, the driveway. Since this was the middle of nowhere, I had brought snacks, but it turns out there was no need. There was a spectacular pub at an inn about a mile away where I had a lamb hot pot, which was one of the best meals of the trip. I was even befriended by a gregarious Jack Russell named Oikel, after the river here. What a cool little cabin made of gigantic logs. The outdoor kitchen. Really stinking cool. And look at the pond. Hope there's no midgies.
2 hours later.
Alright, let's go in before the midgies get me. Yes. Check this place out. Little bed in there. Little couch. Toilets down the hill a little bit. The little cabin got pounded by wind and rain most of the night, but when I went outside for a pee, the clouds had disappeared, revealing a beautiful night sky. Too bad I didn't get the focus right. If you're still here, thanks for coming along, and if you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. Stay tuned for more of the NC500 and the beautiful Scottish Highlands.